was some benefits to the disabled being cut by £30 a week, which is what Mr Corbyn claimed. The Prime Minister didn't answer that question. What is the answer, Dominic Raab?
So they're moving to a situation where if you've got a disability condition, you get your job seekers allowance, which is the same as anyone else, and then the entitlement you'd get for the condition is moved over to what's called the personal independence payment. In effect, what it means is you have a personal tailored uplift, bearing in mind the impact your condition has on your work prospects. But we've got hundreds of thousands of, I think it's 293,000 extra disabled people in work compared to 2 years ago. I think it's rather patronising to suggest that just because you've got a disability, you can't be encouraged and incentivised into work.
No, but until that happens, is it not patronising, but rather cruel to be cutting the welfare benefits by £30 a week?
So what's happening is it's not a straight cut. That element is shifted into a personal, tailored assessment of what their actual need is. So it's not just a tick box.
So they could end up with less?
Well, it would depend on their condition. But the point is that we're making sure the welfare system is there for those who really need it, but encouraging those others who can work, perhaps in the future, to be incentivised, encouraged and supported into work. And I think that's an important principle.
But would it be wrong if people who are disabled, but they are still looking for work, but have not yet managed to find it because it's more difficult in these circumstances, would it be wrong for them to be economically disadvantaged until they do find the work?
And that's precisely why the personalised independent payment should make sure that that doesn't happen, and it's a far more accurate, personally tailored assessment of what their real personal needs are.
Lillian Greenwood, what do you say to that?
Well, I know from constituents who've contacted me that they're really, really anxious about these cuts, and they don't always feel they're getting the support that they want. And there was another question about people's experience of applying for PIP and losing support, and the whole process making life really anxious for them.
Are they right to be anxious?
Of course they are, because that's people's experience, is they're going through the system, large numbers of appeals being upheld. People are not getting the support that they need, and actually they're being made even more anxious and worried as a result of the process.
Anxiety.
Well, I think all these changes are difficult. It's not the kind of thing you want to do. But the truth is, and the point was made, I think, throughout PMQs, unless you've got a vibrant economy, unless you deal with the economic stability from having control over your public finances, you can't put the money into either the welfare system or the NHS or schools. And the problem Jeremy Corbyn's got is no one thinks he's coming up with anything other than pipe dream populism on the left.
That may be true, but you wouldn't want to rescue the country's fiscal position on the backs of the disabled, would you?
No, absolutely not, which is why...
But that seems to be the risk here.
Look, there are no easy decisions left. We've cut the deficit by a half compared as a proportion of GDP. None of these things are easy. What you want to make sure is that the welfare budget, which is a huge proportion of what the government spends still, is properly tailored to those who need it, and those who can get into work are properly supported to do so. I think that's a sensible principle.
But isn't it also a sensible principle that you balance the budget, if that is indeed your aim, on those with the broadest backs, not with those who are often the weakest and most anxious in society?
Well, I think we do that, and that's why if you compare 2010 to now, those on 10 to 15 grand are paying 60% less tax. If you're a millionaire, you're paying 12.4% more income tax. So that's a good, very concrete example of how what we're doing is good for the economy, but also fairer for our society.
This will stand or fall, though, in some cases. Won't it? There could be cases coming forward of disabled people finding themselves worse off as a result of these changes, and that will be, I would suggest, wrong and embarrassing for the government.
Well, the aim, our hope, our confidence is that a personalised approach to this, assessment-based on the individual's need, will avoid that and mitigate it far more than a more automated tick-box approach.
Well, we shall see. It may be an issue that Jeremy Corbyn should have concentrated on more, because it's an interesting one. Jerry Downing, he's a member of a Trotskyite revolution.